I try to discover a little something to make me sweeter. Oh, baby, refrain from breaking my heart. I'm so in love with you. I'll be forever blue.
I'm willing to talk to anyone if it'll bring peace here, no matter who that anyone is. I have reason to believe from the third party who arranged this meeting that there was an opportunity to explore the possibility of bringing all violence to an end, and I believed it was my duty to do so, and I'm doing that.
Sinn Féin's 9 councillors form the largest single party on the opposition benches. 2 of them have been convicted of terrorist offences, one for IRA membership and possession of a firearm, the other for possession of ammunition. A third was convicted for escaping from lawful custody. He was Alex Maskey, currently top of the Unionist hate list. Are you saying that there are Sinn Féin councillors in Northern Ireland who are also active members of the IRA?
I'm satisfied of that.
Who know what the repercussions are for going over to the other side, in fact go over to the other side, then they, more than anyone else, are totally and absolutely aware of what the penalty for doing that is.
Death.
Death, certainly.
How sophisticated is the weaponry that the IRA now has?
Well, as regards sophistication, it's 1,000,000% better than when we were fighting and struggling back in 69 and 70.
How do you know the IRA has this sophisticated weaponry?
It's quite simple to know that, because I was in a position to know.
It won't go away. It's going to haunt them until they have the courage to face up to the truth and then that the wrong people have been in prison for the last 14 years.
The fact that he perhaps doesn't like some of the things that are in it doesn't mean to say it's inaccurate. But he's only mentioned one specific thing, which was the handing to me of a piece of paper with my mother's family tree on the very first time I met him. He says it didn't happen. I say emphatically as it's possible to say that of course it did.
Mr. Barry, do you not find it a bit of a risk or a disappointment that in quibbling over these things, people are losing sight of the advantages to be gained from the Anglo-Irish Agreement? I mean, the ministers today are talking about job opportunities for Catholics in Northern Ireland. Do you not find that disappointing and dangerous?
I would hardly think the death of a man who is going to a football match is quibbling over these things, as you term it. I think it's an extremely important thing.
It happened in the United Kingdom, I think, is the view, and therefore it's the investigating it and bringing culprits to justice, if that is necessary, is Britain's responsibility.
I will have very little sympathy indeed for those who seek to create problems or who point to difficulties, when merely that is an excuse for a latent sectarianism which they may be seeking to preserve in whichever area they operate.
Did you hear a warning shout?
No, I didn't.
Not at any time?
No, I didn't hear any warnings.
If there had been a warning shout, would you have heard it?
Yes, of course. Because where the incident happened, it's very close to me. You've seen the window, haven't you? It's very close.
It wasn't a question of just you know, putting one or two shots into him just to stop him. I mean, it seemed to me, a deliberate shooting to kill. No question.
Blood will flow, flesh and steel are one, drying in the color of the evening sun. Tomorrow's rain.
What happened in Gibraltar was a catastrophe. There was, at no time, a car bomb in Gibraltar. Nevertheless, 3 human beings were shot to death by soldiers, although those human beings were neither in possession of arms nor in possession of a means of detonating a car bomb, had there been one.
Beneath an angry star, lest we forget how fragile we are. On and on the race.
It's a load of rubbish, because you must have observed by being in here. But I was speaking to the members of the Council of the Ulster Defence Association, because they immediately got in touch with me this morning. They want to come to my home, and matter of fact, they're the ones that orchestrated the meeting today. So there's no problem there, absolutely none.
I thought that I'd be with you all the time. I swear you have.
Even in a city which expects the unexpected, there has never been such a public attempt at multiple murder. And it seems there were no IRA guns at the funeral, otherwise they would have been used to fire back. The gunman then tried to escape behind a warehouse, but was caught by the crowd and beaten. The police arrived on the scene and arrested him.
Here, they were identified as soldiers. The army helicopter filmed the soldiers being stripped to their underwear and then bundled over a wall to a waiting taxi. Now under the control of the IRA, they were driven a mile to the patch of waste ground where they were shot. As one of the gunmen ran from the site of the murders, he was followed by the helicopter transmitting these pictures back to Army headquarters. The killers just melted into the crowd.
In my dreams, if you please, your breath is with me now and always. It's like a breeze. So should you ever doubt me, if it's help that you need.
What we're after is resolving the question, the key question, as to whether or not the people who were killed are people who could have been arrested as opposed to killed. Normally, Amnesty International deals with political prisoners. In this case, there are no political prisoners because they're dead.
He was in the province, he told reporters, to meet politicians and religious leaders, to learn, but not to get involved. Get involved he soon did, though, when his car was stopped by an army patrol. An altercation ensued when he intervened on behalf of his guide, a local Catholic priest.
Since when do you tell anybody what to do?
Mr. Kennedy was told, not very politely, to return to his own country.
Why don't you go back to yours?
This is us.
Be happy. In every life we have some trouble, but when you worry you make it double. Don't worry.
We must also encourage a law enforcement system that respects the rights of all, a public code of conduct for police, and a commitment by the government of Great Britain to prosecute, not just reprimand, those in the security forces who take the law into their own hand in circumstances that suggest a policy of shoot to kill.
Preparations are well underway for the game, and most importantly, the response from some of the world's greatest players has been encouraging.
Johnny Rep, Rudi Kroll and Johan Niskens from Holland, Paul Breitner and Wolfgang Overath from Germany have all said they'd play.
When do you start the hill sprints?
I've started already. I'm worried about the old knees, that's the only thing. The heart's still willing, it's the legs I've got to work on. But I've got a few months to get myself as fit as possible. But I've decided that the Windsor game is going to be the last game I'll play anyway, because one of my knees is really giving me a lot of trouble. So it'll be the final. Even kick-arounds, I've decided not anymore. I've had enough. I'm going to go more into coaching with the kids. I'd like to do that. So the Windsor part will be the finale.
These rivers run too deep.
The two of them just emptied the whole place. They could have shot everybody in this bar dead.
And everybody started to scream, and I got up and said, don't panic, and everybody get out. And Ernie, the bus driver, was coming down, helping us all getting out, and Gillian says, I can't move, and that's when I seen her arm. It was all just completely covered in blood.
My heart was broken. My heart was broken. Sorrow, 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 sorrow.
Internment was tried before and was a disaster, the critics say. True, perhaps in political terms, but it was not altogether lacking in security value. But this time, certain vital preconditions, including the level of available, reliable intelligence, would avoid the same pitfall.
If they were to introduce it this year or next year, as I believe they will do, will not defeat the Republican people.
And the daylight is fading from within me calls. Could it be I am sleeping?
We went down to the bus and there was bodies all over the place. And we started then to get into the bus and drag bodies out. It was terrible. I can't explain it. It was something I have never seen before, or never want to see again.
Close to home, feeling so far away. 'Cause I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. Because I got to go for faith. I got to have faith, faith, faith.
We are not talking about freedom fighters or exponents of any liberation theory. We are talking about a calculated campaign of murder by an organization which has been condemned by the Roman Catholic Church outright and by all the Protestant churches in Ireland.
When I wake up, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. When I go out, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who goes along with you. If I get drunk, well, I know I'm gonna be the man who gets drunk next to you. If I heaver, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who's heavering too. But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500
Fate extradition! Chucky on law! Talking says good boy! Right? That talking's done now! Don't get the warrants! You didn't take the warrants! Victory here already! Chucky on law!
And the people are disgusted that Mrs. Thatcher's here, just to wade in the blood of the victims that have been butchered in this country by her policies through the Anglo-Irish Agreement. And anybody who takes part with her and welcome her, we look upon them as traitors.
They all start, yes. Judases.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, permit me to say how much I
Mr. Paisley, I call you to order. And I ask you to stop this disturbance.
I have no time for the European common market. I'm not a common marketeer.
What about those who said you're a bigot?
I was elected.
Yesterday.
Yes, well, that's what they said about Martin Luther.
We're not going to take it lying down. We don't intend to, as I've said earlier on, to go away. And we will develop alternative means of information.
Sinn Féin tried to pull off a preemptive propaganda strike today by calling a news conference in West Belfast before Mr. Hurd had made his announcement to the House of Commons. This morning, we were able to broadcast the comments of Gerry Adams. Tonight, we cannot.
What I have to deal with is a sustained and deliberate attack on the whole system of justice and the fact that people who, if they were innocent, could easily make their case, who simply look at a wall, who simply refuse to answer any questions whatsoever.
On the one hand, Mr. King was saying this was a right that was abused by Irish terrorists. On the other hand, the judge told the jury this was an inalienable right and they could draw no conclusion from it. Well, from that moment, the trial really was in Alice in Wonderland.
This is the final persecution of these 3 Irish people. No Irish man or woman can expect to get justice in a British court. No way.
Can you tell us why you decided to withdraw from the case?
Well, we haven't exactly withdrawn, but we've left the proceedings in order to make an application as quickly as possible to the High Court for a review of the decision to read the statements in.
I think I will be in the right frame of mind. There's one thing I'd like to say. I hope my public comes and supports me. I've no doubt they will.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!